All right, I made cuss, but I don't curse. Let's get that situated first. Back with another video for us. We're going to continue on this whole relationship thing. I feel like this is a good video to do, being that I did that slew bars are nice. We know that already. Relationship video. So I recently saw a man doing a video, right? And he was talking about how a man shows love. Love is about when a man stays with a woman regardless of what she's going through, when she's at her worst, when she's still in the healing process, when she is behaving in an ill manner, when she is being stubborn, when she's being selfish, when she is being emotionally distraught, out of sync with you is pretty much what I'm saying. Out of sync with the man, out of alignment with the man, that's staying with them and sticking it out. Even if they're self-sabotaging, even if they're sabotaging the relationship, the foundation of that man, it is still love when that man stays. And I'm here to tell you that those things are not true. Astrologically, that is false. Now, he sounded real good saying it, don't get me wrong. And I can tell he was pandering to a female audience. And, maybe he just doesn't know any better, or that's what his perception of love is. I'm just here to give the astrological definition of it and to let people know that that's not what love is. So what he was talking about, and I don't think it's a terrible thing, I actually think it's a good thing, is commitment. That is Saturn ruled, and when that's your wife, it makes sense to me. That's commitment. Saturn is more like, oh, okay, you're going through something, okay. Yeah, I heard you. Hear all of the venting, hear everything that they're going through, and say, okay, I'm going to run a bath for you, and dinner will be ready in an hour, and just spin off. You know what I'm saying? That's how you handle it, because, we'll get back to that. All right, so let me just continue, right? So let's begin talking about Venus being exalted. You're going to see my little diagram pop up here, all right? Venus being exalted in Pisces. For this video, we will limit the amount of things that Pisces in the 12th house rules over. So you see prison, isolated discovery, confidential info, mental health, and spiritual service. All right. Now, I want you to also take note about this. Let's start with the prison. Why on earth would the planet Venus be exalted in a sign that rules over prison? Let's say in contrast to where it falls in Virgo. Well, for one, men, right, are held captive with a bunch of other men. There are no women except for females, correction officers, right? And women that come to the visiting floor to visit their men that are locked up. Now, in most cases, this means that there will be no sex. You get what I'm saying? So let's just get that out of the way. Now, Venus is the sex planet. So it's just okay, you get me so far? Not Mars type sex. A lot of us are out here not even having Venus sex. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes two to cooperate. Venus sex is yo, babe, you want to do this position tonight? And then you got to rock, paper, scissors it out and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And then when you come to an agreement, that's Venus sex. Making sure each one reaches a climax and stuff like that. That's Venus sex. It takes two to tango, right? It's cooperative. You know what I mean? That is something called agreeableness, which the male gender scores very low in that category when it comes to psychology and psychological studies. You may have heard Jordan Peterson talk about this pretty often. And all right, so here are some examples. Let me clarify. So some of you may have experienced men in jail, vice versa. Y'all switch the genders the way they're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? So let me walk you through it. For those of you who know about this stuff, you know that when a man is doing time, right, he all of a sudden has all of these great ideas of how he's a changed man or how he's becoming a changed man. He's even going to marry you when he gets out. You want to do it now? We can do it now while I'm still here. He's going to change this around. He's going to be a better father to the children now, and he's going to be home more. And, they'll send cards and portraits and Ferris wheels made out of straws and construction paper and shit. You name it. You know what I'm saying? Men will be doing those things when in prison, right? All of a sudden, my point is, all of a sudden they are being what? Agreeable. Agreeableness is Venus ruled. Cooperative, it's Venus ruled. So, but ladies will tell you guys, right? Love is an action word. So it sounds real good while you're in prison, but you got to prove that. You got to show that. You know what I'm saying? So, because the reality of it is he wasn't doing that at home. If he was doing that at home, then he wouldn't be saying all of these new things and making these promises, right? And the temptation and freedom when they get home could be so overwhelming that they revert to doing the same thing that they were doing before when they get out. So, but in prison, you have enough time to isolate and be by yourself and think about all of the times that you were not cooperative with your partner, right or wrong. So you start to remember and recall the times when you were like, yo, you told me not to go on that trip, right? You told me not to hang out with so-and-so and such and such. You told me not to be around that crowd. You told me not to be on that block. You told me not to go to that club. All of the things that you have flashbacks and memories of that pretty much damaged the relationship, right? You get that time to reflect and find out or realize and remember all of the times that you were not cooperative, and it'd be eating some men alive, you know what I'm saying? Because now they have the time to sit and think about those things. Now, not for nothing, right? Men start becoming agreeable with other men in prison. They have no real alternative when you think about it. So you think I'm lying? Let me explain. So let it be like a Friday in prison and COs are like, yo, we're going to have movie night. The cleanest dorm gets to get last call on movie night, and you get to watch 2 movies consecutive. This is a real thing that happens in prison, by the way. I'm not talking about the county. That county shit, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying? But when you're in prison, it's more like that. It's more structured like that. Yeah, you get perks and stuff like that here and there. So let you be the oddball out of 40 or 50 men in the dorm that says they don't want to clean up that day. You know what I mean? Let you be that one. I'm telling you, you're going to get straightened out. There's going to be an OG that come around. Be like, yo, listen, young blood, I know you don't like to usually make your bed up and all that, but we're going to make this movie night tonight. You know what I'm saying? So pull it together the best way you can. You need some help. You need what you need. You need a cigarette or something. Like, we got to get this movie night, man. You understand what I'm saying? We can't have you just out here not doing your thing. You're going to get I would say counseled and disciplined in a way that you become disciplined yourself as a man. And men really get cooperative. You'd be surprised to know how many men actually be in prison and go through day after day real smoothly with no altercations, exercising with each other, playing cards, being in the day room, watching TV, eating good, talking on the phone, talking to each other in the library. You really be surprised how many days go smoothly in prison. Everything ain't like the movies and them stuff that people be saying and stuff like that. It's shit that don't be true, yo. But like I said, it's different in the county. Then you can probably see a lot more live action and people distraught and going through it. Now again, OG will come around and be like, yo, listen, young blood, I seen you been arguing with the old lady on the phone and all that, you know what I'm saying? She picked up, you heard her cheeks getting clapped in the background. Listen, man, ain't nothing you could do about that from in here, you know? And that ain't even your world no more. So the faster you get to realizing that you have no control over that situation, the better off your mental health is going to be. Mental health ruled by 12th house in the Pisces, prison. You know what I'm saying? This is where you get your life together, or could, should I say. This is where you could get your life together with the isolation. But primarily, your mental health gets restored. Self-renewal, also ruled by Pisces in the 12th house. Hear me out. So let's talk about discovery, also ruled by Pisces in the 12th house. Now, when you get arrested, right, you get something called a discovery packet. Pisces ruled 12th house prison. That's if you're lucky. That's if you're in a state that's not corrupted. Like New York, you're not getting a discovery packet. You could forget about it. Now, in the feds, that's different. You'll get one in the feds. But if you city, state, they're not giving you a discovery packet, which is foul. But in summary, what a discovery packet is what it is you get the information on your case pretty much about everybody that did you dirty. So who called 911, who told on you, who left a statement, who is against you, even the people you thought was friends, you'd be like, oh, how they get in here? Like, yeah, you find out all of that. So what happens is, now that you're isolated and away from the chaos that you could not really see in, you get to see people and things for what they truly are. And you just sit there like, oh man, wow. So like Pisces people in general we don't be knowing what the fuck we're doing in life until we learn, fish travel in schools, the lesson. Saturn rules over lessons, the greatest teacher in astrology. So now this brings me to prison being a building, right? Prison is a building, it's a compound. Now Saturn rules over building in general, building, structure, and planning. And Saturn also rules over the hologram, all right? Now, every individual on Earth has their own mini hologram. And when you're building, when you're planning your hologram, what your projector is going to show you throughout your life, you bring people into the fold by allowing them to say, okay, yeah, I want you to interact within my hologram. Now, within a building, within a compound, Saturn also rules over the operation of business. You'll see institutions, they do what? They even know to incentivize whoever is in that hologram, whoever is in that building, or else the house of cards will fall, it will crumble, there will be no foundation, there will be no pyramid, there will be no structure. You get what I'm saying? So you see how Venus comes in that way, right? But the point is, you're allowing someone to have an experience with you in your hologram by allowing them to be there. There should be a level of cooperation that takes place when you allow people in your hologram. Quick question, how many people have you allowed and are allowing in your hologram who are not cooperating with you? I'll let you ponder on that. Because that brings me to confidential information, also ruled by Pisces in the 12th house. So doing time, therefore, should consist of a man rebuilding, revising, and planning his strategy, his structure, his foundation, so that when he enters back into society, he will have something on his own. It's called standing on your own square. Therefore, communicating that, so like being on the phone and telling your partner what it is that you're going to do when you get in out, is not recommended, because it should be confidential information. Love is an action word. It should be something that you incentivize her to be involved with, to enter and experience you in your hologram. She can share your hologram based on cooperation and incentivization. I think that's how you say that word, right? So it's like, yeah. Now, it's different if you're married, right? If you're married, I say, yeah, you get on the horn, you get to planning stuff with your chick while you locked up. Okay, it happens sometimes, you know what I mean? And y'all can do that, but there's a total difference there. Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra, which rules over relationships and rules over marriage. Different ball game. I subscribe to that. I co-sign that. But if that's who you're merely loving on, then that should be kept under wraps until you touch the town and you're able to incentivize them to be a part of your hologram. Now, some men be locked up and they know their wife is fucking around. I've seen it. And they'll still stay. I've seen it. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, it is what it is. Like I said, when you're married, you're committed. So that, you know what I mean? Even in the town, I've seen men stay with women who have stepped out because of commitment. It's Saturn ruled. So, you know, even when they're at their worst, emotionally distraught and running around, running amok because they're emotionally unstable, you know, they'll step out on the husband. And you may think that, you know, the best thing to do, the worst thing you can do is go running after her when she's in that type of state. And some of y'all might think, oh, as a husband, as an authority figure, you should go run after your wife. I'm still telling you, nah. If it comes down to it, call the authorities. Put out a missing report on your wife. Straight up, let them go find her. You know what I'm saying? They come back, sir. We found your wife. She was in a hotel with another guy. She had her ass cheeks plastered to the window, but we found her. We found her with another guy. And you just be like, okay, sir, thank you for everything. Thank you for your help. You know what I'm saying? It's better that, because Saturn rules over authoritative figures, call the authorities. It's better that they find out about it and communicate that to you than that you find out, right? Some of y'all might not agree with me, and I understand, but that's you being in an emotionally devolving state, running after the woman, giving her the control over the whole situation that she manipulated, and it's out of raw emotion. Takes you off your square, your foundation begins to crumble because she's breaking you, she's taking you off your square. It's not cool. Now, some people may say, well, and I would even say, if your foundation is crumbling to the point where your hologram is just becoming a nightmare, you know what I'm saying? Then you might as well call it quits, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you have information like that to back it up. I'm not telling y'all what to do, but I would recommend, if it was me, I believe that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? If it gets too out of control, I'm out of there. You know what I'm saying? And if not, the roles may reverse. It might be the woman who is just fed up with you tolerating her and still being committed to the situation, to the relationship. You understand what I'm saying? If you got like a Saturn in the 7th house, or your spouse got a Saturn in the 7th house, you can see these type of committed relationships to where they're still in the relationship despite their knowing it being over. They're still there in some kind of way. It's just like the astrology of it. This is what I'm telling you. This is the astrology of it, right? But it's even probably better that you keep records of it, because now the police know it. Because there's some tender dick dudes out there that'll allow themselves to be emotionally manipulated by the woman to where she's in control, and then they want to do the super saver hole, man. You know what I'm saying? The Superman saver hole shit, and they want to get involved to the point of maybe showing up at your door or something like that. And then, if the worst happens, at least the police and the judge are not going to be surprised by it, because you have records hinting to some trouble in China already, right? And lastly, Pisces rules over chaos, right? But prison is a whole lot of motherfucking rules. See, Pisces is lawless, no rules, no boundaries. Prison, where it rules over, is full of rules, full of structure, full of boundaries, which makes it unique. And Saturn is the warden of the prison. But it goes to show that in order to heal mental illness, in order to renew one's mind, the subconscious mind, and all of that, because a lot of these mental illnesses sometimes are hereditary, isolation from chaos is what keeps the person, is what renews the person and restores them to bring them back. There's biblical quotes on that as well, self-renewal of the mind and stuff like that. So, like I said, prison, and I've said this numerous of times, prison protects and preserves a lot of men. A lot of men were taken off the streets before they was about to be taken off the earth. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a testament to how this can work positively and not be the worst thing in the world, as a lot of people try to make it out to be. Now let's get to the ladies. And of course I know they are women prisons and stuff like that, but let's keep it a beam, right? How many women do you see that are like the papooses of the world, who happens to be a Pisces, by the way, right? Who are committed to going up there and making those visits when a woman is locked up, in contrast to when a man is locked up. And in fact, when women get the bag, what do? They abandon ship. They get away, and rightfully so. Look, y'all might think that I'm looking at that as a bad thing. No, I'm not, but let me tell you why. Venus is a feminine planet. Venus brings out the femininity in both woman and man, but it's naturally a feminine construct. So just think about it, right? You think, and I wasn't alive then, but back in the days when men was only in the labor force, in the workforce, what patriarch man, or should I say, do you think the patriarch man removed incentivizing women from being in service to society? You think that's a coincidence? I think not. I think not. You strip her of her natural tendency, her natural capabilities, for what? And I think, slavery has something to do with it, right? Because it's like, if we got all of these men working for free, I'd be damned if I'm about to incentivize a woman to be in the workforce. You get what I'm saying? So you can understand how the patriarch was built and why they followed through so hard on that. If you ask me, that's not a man, or any man that does something like that is pretty much very insecure, small dick energy, just, not that I should be caring about all of that, but you get what I'm saying, right? Ladies are definitely sound the horn on that type of thing. It's just a real insecure, puny. That's not. I don't think they gotta check other in the gender box. I'm just keeping it a beam. But my point is to strip her of her natural essence. Think about it, guys. Who wants to go shopping? women all of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's their natural tendency. It's what they do. Like, men, simple. Give me a 3-pack of drawers, a pack of socks, some basketball shorts, and a pair of J's, and we good, right or wrong. Not ever have you ever heard a man say, "Oh, we're about to have a time in Target." No man has ever said that, B. Like, that's their thing, to spend money and go be Venus like. It's their thing. So guys, I think we really be reaching whenever we think that women are obligated to stay committed to us because they love us and we love them. Love is a fleeting, it's a agreement, it's personal. It doesn't mean Saturn, like long term, long haul. It doesn't mean all of that. That's Saturn. This is my point of the video. Venus is, yeah, I agree with you. Right now in the moment, let's cooperate, smooth things over, balance life out, balance each other out. We had a loving day. It was harmonious. Love to do it again sometime, perhaps, you know? But we're reaching when we're expecting women to be committed to us because we love them and they love us, and show the expression of love. It's just not in the astrology until Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra that rules over relationships and marriage. You know, then you can talk more about long haul, long term stuff. Now let's double down on this, right? Where does Venus fall at? It falls in the sign of Virgo. Is that a coincidence that Virgo is the woman, is the sign of the woman? I think not. Not at all. It's not a coincidence. Venus should fall there. Now, the Vesica Pisces, right, is shaped like a vagina. Therefore, when a man is isolated in a prison-like type of environment or just kept to himself, he should be studying the vagina and the ways of a woman so that he is better prepared to stand on the square bars of nights. We know that already when he reaches the town again, and enables her to be within his hologram, and her as well, vice versa. I'm not really telling the ladies how to design their hologram right now, but I base planets falling on two things. One is they're not as easily expressed when they're falling. Case in point, how many women do you know are cooperative with each other? There's like 3 besties tops, and the time is ticking until one of them is just too much of a hoe, and then they gotta break apart. Like, oh no, we can't do this no more. And then the cycle repeats. You know what I'm saying? It's rinse and repeat. They get a whole new slew of besties, and shout out to you ladies out there that are cooperative and that, you know, got long-term relationships with women and stuff like that. But for the most part, women are not cooperative until when they get with a man. And women love to be cooperative with men, and they get stigmatized for it too, right? Oh, you's a hoe. Why you always with all them guys? Why you always with them guys? Because it just gels well. They balancing each other out. This is the astrology of it. This is the natural tendency of it. This is the biology of it too. And I think it's primarily because a woman gets to utilize manipulation, which is a feminine trait. They get to utilize it successfully and positively by convincing the man to agree and cooperate to doing something that they want to do. You ever frolicked in the woods with a broad? Look, some of y'all looking at me right now like, nah, nigga, I'm not frolicking in the woods with nobody. Listen, I'm telling you, you're missing out. You get to frolicking in the woods with a chick, I'm telling you, the top comes down, everything comes off eventually. Next thing you know, you're rolling around, got weeds all over you, stuck to your legs and shit. It's a time to have. You really don't know how much you're missing. Now, my point there is, you ever seen Bill Burr's comedy special? When you get a chance, go look at it. Like, he's describing when he's been married for a while now to his wife, and his life is getting better now because he's cooperating with his wife. And she does these things where she'll come to him and ask him, hey, babe, you know, I was thinking we can go here and we can go there and do something that he normally would not do and would immediately be like, look at her like she got 10 heads, right? But he starts thinking about it and he's like, you know what? All right, what the hell? I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And it costs money. Don't forget this factor, right? It costs money to utilize love and Venus and this, that, and the third. But he's like, fuck it, I'll go. Ends up having the time of his life. He's got matching outfits and shit. He's funny as fuck. But you should check it out just to understand exactly, like in detail, what I'm saying. And that's Venus bringing out the femininity in a guy. You understand what I'm saying? But it brings it out in the woman as well. Why? Because she gets to experience her natural trait of being loving, of being compatible, of being with another, right? To the tango, being cooperative and in harmony with someone that they have affection for. So it's a win for ladies. Women feel like they have won when they get a guy to do something that they want them to do. And it's a win-win situation when the guy actually enjoys doing it. And it's not gay, bro. See, and a lot of us are wondering why the women are hanging out with the gay guys now. And it's like, bro, it's not gay. It's because they be frolicking in the woods and shit. Like, they be doing shit that women like to do, that women want to do. You know what I mean? And then y'all will go out there and make skits joking like, yeah, I'm going to act gay so I can crack. When, dude, all you had to do was just go frolic in the woods a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? And not doing it. And let's get even deeper. Virgo rules over routine, right? Who loves to spend money? Women do. All the time. They love it. Well, more than men do, and rightfully so, because again, it's a natural trait it is, right? Who has better physical health overall? Women do. They have a longer lives. They live longer lives than us. But who's also under attack by the hospitals and stuff like that? Their body is subject to malpractice. Women as well, which is also the industry is ruled by Virgo. So don't think that the women is not under attack out here, y'all. They are. You know what I'm saying? For their natural capabilities, their natural characteristics. Just like they was taken out of the workforce or told not to. What rules over service? Virgo rules over service, physical service, in contrast to the spiritual service in Pisces. And I don't mean slavery, y'all. But I explained the whole slavery kick part of it. You know what I'm saying? But women love to be in service to people, yo. They love it. That's part of the whole cooperative thing. If you can get a woman, you can get a woman on board to be more cooperative with you, to give service before a man can, because we score low in agreeableness. So do you know how much wealth we have missed out on by keeping women out of the workforce? I know some of y'all want to go back to back in the days when it was one salary in the household and men was able to take care of everything, and you could backhand your broad and all that and get away with it, and she was barefoot in the kitchen. But listen, as the workforce expanded, women now get to see that the salary decreases, and as I mentioned before, some women are skating with the bag, right? Like, yeah, but it's get back for them when you think about it. Like, yeah, give us our money back. We've been doing this. Like, this is what we do. Y'all kept this for us for mad long because y'all wanted to rape us and y'all wanted to do this and have y'all way with us. And some of y'all want to go back to that prehistoric animals. I ain't even dissing y'all, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. If you're getting married, salute, But like I was saying, even Saturn knows to incentivize, or else the house of cards will fall. You know what I'm saying? Now back to Pisces being in the 12th house, right? I just came back from a walk a little while ago, and I saw two besties, women, arguing with each other about a man. And one of the girls was telling the other girl, look, you should leave him, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does this, he's a dipshit, he's an asshole, this, that, and the third. And the other woman was like, but yeah, you're not minding your business, though. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because a woman will choose a man's spiritual counsel over a woman's in a drop of a hat. And this is what I'm saying, the difference, the contrast, the opposition between spiritual service and physical service. In a drop of a hat, and I'm not talking about your brute, uncivilized, uncultured man. I'm talking about a man who has been isolated, perhaps in monk mode for some time, building and continuously building on his structure and his square. These are the type of men that women gain counsel from on the regular and will diss their bestie every time when it comes to their man, B. And it's much needed, not for nothing, because without it, the woman crumbles. Now, look, the moon rules the subconscious mind, right? Subconscious mind rules over emotions. So remember in the beginning, I was talking about dude doing a video pandering to the female audience. And he's like, yeah, stick it out. Even if she's out in the streets running around, running amok, doing crazy stuff, acting wild, doing things that's detrimental not only to her, but to the union. Stick it out. That's love. That's not love, my boy. That at its that is what is called enabling first. It's called enabling, right? That's equivalent to, like, let's say you're going through something, your mental health is suffering, and you call your boys up and you're like, yo, I just don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know about life anymore. I'm to the point where I'm done. And they know you're an addict or whatever the case may be, and they like, yo, bro, don't even worry about it. I'm on my way right now. I'm gonna bring a bottle of liquor and some dope. You just need to get your mind off of it. Like, that's what it's like for a man to stay in an emotionally distraught woman's life and catering to it and holding her up and propping her up and allowing her to do that, enabling her to do that. That's the equivalent of that. It's just a slow burn, a slow death, and you're going to allow her to not only self-sabotage, but sabotage the structure of yourself. That's not love, bro. That's not love. That's commitment. And if you're not married to her, you are out of pocket. Because the more you let a woman run with that behavior, she's going to keep doing it. You're going to be chasing her to the end of the earth. It's not called the bottomless pit for nothing. It's bottomless, bro. Like, there's no end to it. It's going to keep spiraling down. She's going to spiral down to where their ancestors got captured. You understand what I'm saying? A man's job is to bring her up to the top of the Kabbalah tree. You know what I'm saying? Raise her out of that. And like I said, if you're married, that's different. That's tolerant at its best. That's being tolerant. You know what I'm saying? You stick it out. You stay around. That's Saturn being responsible. Is just like, you hear her vent, go through all of the emotions, and you're just like, okay, I heard you. I'm going to run a bath for you, and dinner will be ready in an hour. And spin off. Straight up. Because you can't go running after her and allow the square to crumble. That's your job. That is your responsibility as a man, is building the hologram. If you don't, you know how they say, if you don't build a heaven for a woman to live in, where's she going? And if you going to where she going, that's the bottomless pit. What they call that? Yeah, that part. Heaven rules the head. Hell rules the heel. So if you chase after a woman, listen, man. I know I've said this a few times in different videos, but I'm cooking right now, so let me cook. And just think about it, right? Again, the planet that rules over cooperation is a feminine characteristic. It's a feminine construct. So how does a woman let her emotions get the best of her when in a union with a man and you call it love? It's just, she's out of pocket. It's against spiritual law. The astrology says so. It's not cooperative, and that's why. Venus rules over cooperation. If a woman says, I don't care what you got going on, I'm going to go run amok, I'm going to go do this. Let's say you invite your girl, you tell her, yo, babe, listen, a friend invited me to a funeral and all that, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't going to tell you to come with me because I know you don't like funerals, and I know how you can get when we go to events and stuff like that, but they really insisted that you come. We're only going to be there a couple of hours, all right? Just behave until we leave. And then you get there, she started drinking, she started twerking, she half dressed, she get the fighting and all that, and you like, you love her, dog? Like, do you love her? In that very moment, do you love her? Come on, knock it off. Now, again, if that's your wife and you sticking it out, that's being tolerant. That's being committed to the vows that y'all made. But other than that, come on. It ain't worth it in the long run. In the long run, is Saturn ruled. You're building a square. You're building a hologram. You want it to be harmonious when you're allowing someone else to be in it. And some of us stick around with those type of women because the pussy be good. I get it. But it's just like, bro, it's not worth it in the long haul. Again, you want to have a time in the immediate moment. I understand where you're coming from. But if you're building something and you're a man who's standing on your square, knock it off. Which brings me to this point, right? The planet Venus transits in 228 days. In contrast to the planet Saturn, which takes 29 years to transit. So, we just got finished saying Venus rules over wardrobe. I think I left that part out, right? Who does the most shopping? Women. Routinely, Virgo rules over routine, so women shop for wardrobes routinely, right? In physical service, now we can say, look, don't get mad at me, y'all, but we can say that applies to sex too. She's physically servicing you. All of these things cost money, which is a Venus construct, right? Now, you heard how fast and how slow that these planets that I'm discussing transit. Men, if you are a man who is standing on your square, building a structure and a hologram for your trajectory and your plan, keep this in mind, because if you let that 228-day transit get the best of you on a personal level because you're engaging in the Venus constructs in a way that is not balancing out your life, don't complain when you don't reach the goals that you set out to reach in life. Don't start saying these hoes ain't loyal and it's all because of women and now you MGTOW and this, that, and the third, because you heard it here first. That's supposed to be planning. The point is to let you know Venus brings out feminine characteristics. But women love, make her earn it, make her work for it is my point here. Women love to do that shit, I'm telling you. Because that is when their emotional needs are satisfied in an optimistic kind of way. They have manipulated you into frolicking in the woods with them, and it worked. Now she's right. She really won the argument, if there ever was one. That's an argument she won. See, what's happening is some guys be so generous, right, that they end up giving and giving to the woman and she don't put in no effort. And that's why they got women out here running around now talking about they not going to Red Lobster with you. Like, what? It's crazy. And to the men that's out there tricking it and trying to frame things to make you look like you're bad or you're not popping because of it, because you're not doing it, you know, like, or you're a clown for not doing it, or you're a brokey, it's really because they have lost balance. Instead of, like I said, allowing space for a woman to actually convince them to do the things that the woman wants to do, they're doing it before they even ask. They're tricking on themselves, buying them all types of stuff, buying the woman all types of stuff. Shit, there's guys out here that got more bags than men now. You know what I'm saying? That means they out of balance. They have lost their square. They don't necessarily cater to their structuring like that. They like, yo, it ain't chicken if you got it. You know what I'm saying? But don't allow them to make you feel bad or make you feel some type of way. I'm telling you, enough of that, and I've said this before in other videos, enough of that is why she gonna end up at another guy's house with her ass cheeks on the window. And I'm just keeping it a beam with y'all. Until next time, I'm out.
I think we got one. Fuck going on?
She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back. She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw
that
it
shit
back.
back.
She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back.
Throw it.
She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back.
Throw it.
She wanna play catch, she wanna play fetch. Tell me where to park at. I pull up in sweats.
I pull up.
I'ma throw the bone with some balls, make it stretch. She gon' throw it back and make a mess. Yeah, she look at them furs, them in hers, we work for that. Bitch, she got that bag from Chauncey Moss, not a Birkin bag. We ain't showing off inside no baby girl, it's worth the tag. We done went and earned stacks before I went to purchase that. That nigga ain't real, if he hustle, where you working at? Bustin' scripts on your shit for pills or them Percocets. You tell us your bills, all we see is where your burdens at. Fuck that restaurant, come to the park, she ain't heard of that now. She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back. She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back. She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back. She wanna play catch, throw it back, throw it back. Big purr, pussy like her wallet, merchant fat. Big booty like a Guatemalan, searching fat. She I'm a tree class, throw them dollars, circle